Sentimental Value from Joachim. He is a director I first became familiar with from 2011's Oslo 31st August, which is one of the more acclaimed films of the 2010s at the midway point of that decade. It remains a rather strong film, and I remember going back and being reasonably impressed with his feature debut from 2006 titled Reprise. I don't remember being too taken with what I saw of his subsequent films, 2015's Louder Than Bombs or 2017's Thelma, a documentary released in 2018 titled The Other Munch, and a 2021 feature called The Worst Person in the World. The new film, Sentimental Value of 2025, seemed interesting to me, and I've just viewed it as it was one of the Best Picture nominees, which seemed reasonably interesting to me. I'm actually relatively surprisingly happy with the Best Picture nominees. I potentially would have added some films not on that list, but of the ones they did choose, 4 which I have seen of the 10 are really pretty impressive films, which is all I care about at this stage, as long as the film isn't just tepid nonsense, which usually Best Picture nominees, especially now that they're bringing up 10, are annoyingly, overwhelmingly that. And there's still 3 more that I'm interested in viewing that I think could have potential. Those ones are Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and The Secret Agent. No interest in seeing F1, Train Dream seems a bit lame to me, and One Battle After Another makes me yearn for Arizona Bay. Fuck Hollywood, and fuck the Gen X indie sellouts and their 90s amorality overriding their anti-establishment ethos. The Gen X sellouts are more contemptible than the Boomer sellouts, because God knows the Boomer sellouts are the only thing young Gen X ever fucking talked about. But we have a strong film here in Sentimental Value, maybe the strongest of Trier's films at this stage, although maybe another viewing of Oslo 31st August would prove it even stronger than I may remember. The Best Picture nominees in the 2020s could be pretty bad, really. In 2020, aside from the relatively quaint and fairly likeable feature Minari, you had crap like, oh my god, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, The Trial of the Chicago 7, and The Father. For 2021, other than the relatively admirable feature from Ryusuke Hamaguchi, who has directed at least one much superior film, actually. That film was, the film nominated in that year was called Drive My Car, and the part 1 of Villeneuve's highly admirable Dune features. You had nonsense such as The Power of the Dog, Nightmare Alley, West Side Story, Licorice Pizza, PTA deserves a place in hell for that one, Belfast, Don't Look Up, Judas and the Black Messiah, King Richard, and Coda. 2022 was actually a lot better, I felt. A lineup which included Women Talking, Triangle of Sadness, Tar, even The Fabelmans, Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and The Banshees of Inisherin was a lot better than the prior 2 years, for sure, even if they were accompanied by tosh like Elvis, All Quiet on the Western Front, Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you like that movie, you deserve everything bad that will ever happen to you. And Top Gun Maverick. 2023, some major titles there, like The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall, also crap like Maestro, or preferable retired film director Greta Gerwig's Barbie, odorous abortion attempt, vomit such as American Fiction or Killers of the Flower Moon, The Holdovers, or Nolan's Oppenheimer, which only something as ambitious as an Odyssey feature could ever make up for. What an utter fucking disgrace of a movie Oppenheimer was. He ought to be ashamed, as he ought to have felt after Insomnia, The Prestige, or The Dark Knight Rises. 2024, outside of Dune Part 2, one of the best Picture nominees ever, why not? Fuck it. You ever assess the quality of most of those 20th Century Best Picture winners? Most of them are pretty trash, Best Picture nominees, and even a lot of the winners are kind of sucky, really. And the rather strong flick Conclave, aside from those two, really, the other nominees ought not to have been made in the first place. Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, The Substance, A Complete Unknown, Wicked Part 1, The Brutalist, Anora, and I'm Still Here. Get rid of them. Sentimental Value is one of the better Best Picture nominees of the decade so far. The Academy ought to be ashamed of themselves. Stop thinking you're superior to the average person and consciously stub your toe daily if you've ever done so for more than 7 years of your life, which wealthy people in America have most certainly been very guilty of. I guess I shall be recommending it for anyone viewing this upload here, sure. I don't know if I can convince you that this world is exciting, but I assure you that most people are only in it for themselves, including at least 70% of people who describe themselves on the political left, as opposed to 100% of the political right, all malignant scum. So I don't know if there is really much hope for our world.